Hey, hello everyone, and welcome to the Cartographer community meeting. Today is November 17th, and we're getting started right now. Okay, if probably you didn't receive the update via Google Groups or on social media or the Slack channel, we are having office hours. The Cartographer team will start holding office hours every Monday 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The purpose of that space is, in general, to deepen the relationship between contributors, maintainers, and the overall photographer project goals. Um, and in particular, we will be discussing RFCs. RFCs are the method the cartographer project use to propose ideas that could potentially change how things are done by the project. The architecture changes to it. So you're welcome to attend. Again, in all of our communication spaces, we send the notification, but again, it's over here. We have details of how it's going to work. For this, we are evaluating a different approach. First, we plan to have a note taker determined prior to the meeting, because some discussions are deep enough to have proper note taking. And also, the idea is to add topics to the agenda prior to the meeting. So the maintainer team and everyone involved to prepare accordingly. The idea is to divide the 60 minutes evenly among the number of discussion topics. I know that some other projects have this structure of fill the first 30 minutes answering questions from the community and the remaining 30 minutes discussing deeper technical topics. For the behavior so far of our meetings, we are dedicating the whole 60 minutes to discussions, but we are going to divide the time evenly among the topics, right? So everyone's welcome to join. Okay, again, welcome everyone, and we're getting started. So TLDR for this week, and I see that there are some notes there. So I don't know if Josh could elaborate on what's new in the project.
Yep. What's new in the project this week? We added some comprehensive auditing of error logs in the reconcile loop. So this is a follow-on from all the informer work that we did before, just making sure that we're returning an error when appropriate and not when we don't need to. And then so now we're working on reducing controller permissions, which is all about giving the minimum number of permissions to your controller. Right now, your controller starts up with a very permissive service account that it uses to create all the objects under the hood. And so we want to narrow that down to only the minimum objects required. So we're working on that. Yeah, it's a good discussion in this one. And then the other big thing we're working on right now is we're revamping our logging. So we're standing on some log levels, and then we're going to be taking a pretty big pass over what we have already and just making sure that we have some consistent logging throughout the project. So those are the big things.
That's great. I saw also a release candidate. I don't know if you could share briefly about this. What's the overall theme of this release candidate?
Yeah, these release candidates are just for some internal testing we're doing right now. Okay. And so we will, yeah, they're really not for public consumption at this point.
Got it. That's great. Okay, thank you, Josh. Okay, well, from the previous meeting, we had a couple of action items, just reminding that creating an issue regarding testing practices and also adding, providing additional use cases for RFC 15. Right, it's just a friendly reminder. Okay, there, please add your discussion topics there, status updates. If there are not anything else, I'll start with the docs structure. We've been, reviewing how to approach the OSS docs in terms of how to keep the pace on versions and potentially how to automate that. But the first step is doing it manually and reach some consensus there. So there's this PR on which, let me show you the render here. What we have here is a, well, now the version in here for the latest version so far. And the first kind of decision or proposal that I wanted to discuss here was having a main folder for the unreleased version docs. So now I see there's a comment from Zero. Thank you, Zero. He proposed using latest. I think it makes sense in terms of, the website. Probably main has more to do with the GitHub context, but here using latest, I think it makes sense. And just this is the first run of the process. I'm just using what other projects are using right now, but this suggestion from Zero, I think makes sense. So I don't know, what do you all think?
You seem to say main would hold documentation for the unreleased code. Is that right? Latest seems to me that it would be the latest released code. So that would change what's actually documented.
Okay.
I forget the meeting we had with the docs people, we came up with a nice name. I don't remember what we settled on.
I mean, it's really
Yeah.
development in progress, right?
Yeah.
Main is, that is.
Or like preview.
Preview. Yeah. Well, my my memory is failing there, but I thought that we discussed about using latest, but if there's something different, it's just a matter of changing a couple of files. So yeah, probably main is not the best option.
Yeah, I don't like latest either. So maybe we can have a
Mm.
like people can go and comment on what they prefer the
Yeah.
unreleased to be.
Do we want to document unreleased features? Is that a standard thing to do?
Yes.
It's useful for like, oh, if we're like working on something delivery related, right? Like we can put in the same PR the changes to docs, and then it's out there. People can look at it and make use of it.
Mhm. Okay.
I
So
like
yeah,
the-
I think we.
I was just gonna give I like development. I think it would be useful for end users to have a latest, but I would
Mhm.
expect latest to be a mirror of right now, for example, V7. It should be the
Mhm.
latest released thing. And development, I think, will be very clear to folks that this is not not what you're gonna get if you do the safe install.
Yeah, another argument for like latest is pointing at the latest released version is that that's the same for GitHub. So like if you're looking at the releases of a project, latest is like this soft link to going to the latest release. So I agree with not making it the what preview it is.
I think I will add the options to the PR and we can vote there to reach an agreement, if you don't mind. Right. That's great. Yeah. this is a process that we can indeed automate. The Valero project, for example, has a nice script to automate this. So that's probably next step to start modifying the script to serve Cartographer project. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. That's the PR where you can comment. Okay, now for the CI best practices batch. I wanted to touch briefly here. Or here, the analysis section. This section, well, we don't need to meet all the criteria here, right? If you see other projects there, for example, again, the Lero project is at 100%. They don't meet all the criteria here. Some other criteria is not apply, and it's fine. So we just need to see what we have right now in the project, what we don't have right now, and if there are features there, or requirements there that we don't plan to have. So yeah, it requires reading all of that. Probably the goal is not to complete this during the call. But I just wanted to open up this. This is one of the main areas that we are missing to fill in here. And we will need to have a separate time probably to cover this. It's there in the agenda. You can take a look. There's additional details in each one of the requirements to see what we plan to answer that, right? Any question about that? Great. Next item, annotating RFC status by Washima.
Yeah, I dropped a question, I think, into Slack. RC3, we're closing in favor of RC14, and as I went to close it, I was like, oh, this is just going to live on a branch for forever. That sounds not great. It should be merged in and somehow noted that that it's been withdrawn, that we're not going to do that. I can send, actually, David, can I share for just a second? So this is the Python PEP. I guess, how did I get here? There's an open issue about clarifying our RFC process that has to do with a lot of different, there are a lot of things that we can clarify. This is the one that I think is timely, since we actually are withdrawing an RFC at the moment. Reading through the examples here, I liked what I saw from Python. Their PEP process, one, they have this nice diagram. These are all the different statuses that things can go through, and what they do is just in the heading of a proposal, there would be a status field. I know that Stephen in a Slack message mentioned the option of, instead of putting a status on it, having an actual folder structure, which would make it a lot easier to see, like, these are all the things that we've committed to doing, and these are the things that have been withdrawn, and these are the things that are still pending. When I first read that, that struck me as a good idea. Curious to hear what other folks think.
I didn't mean instead of the status field, or just in addition to that, to keep it separate. I think both are, or status field also seems important if you're given a link and you don't look at the URL or something.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I take the silence as, yes, these are great ideas. Let's do them.
Any, okay, great. Here. Coach. Okay, that's great. Anything else? Any question, update? No? Okay. So I believe that's it for today. Thank you for your time and see you next week.